What's up, guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and it's time to talk about The Walking Dead. So this episode picks up right where the last episode left off. We have Morgan talking to one of the wolves in the house where he found the wolf. Maybe it was the second episode actually where it left off. Either way, we still haven't made any progress story-wise, chronologically speaking. And by the end of this episode, we've only moved forward by about 3 minutes, maybe. So, again, no story. Which is kind of interesting because this entire episode is story. But here's the thing about this episode. It's all Morgan's story after Rick found him in that city where he had everything guarded up. So after Morgan was crazy, apparently he went out wandering, and this is the story of how he learned to handle the bow staff and the fight and his whole not killing thing. So this is his story about that. And the reason we're hearing this story is because he's telling the wolf guy what happened to him, so maybe the wolf guy can have the same sort of experience and to become a better person, which is really just a giant crock. I think this whole episode was a throwaway episode, really. It would be okay if this series was called Morgan's Life, but it's not. It's called The Walking Dead, and sure, there were zombies and things in this episode, but the entire plot of this episode could have been conveyed to us through like a 3-minute dialogue between Morgan and Rick, or Morgan and anybody, or Morgan and the wolf. We didn't have to spend an hour and a half, an extended episode, just to see Morgan learn that he shouldn't kill people based on what this one guy said. So he basically just decides he can't kill anybody ever again, otherwise he's gonna go crazy again, which doesn't really make sense. Plus, it's really kind of like a utopian concept, an idealization of what life should be, when they're in a world where there are zombies and everybody that's not a zombie, minus a few, are trying to kill you and take your stuff. So it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense at all. And it's getting irritating that they keep pushing this and pushing it and pushing it, that these people shouldn't be killing people and that Carol's bad for for being willing to kill people when she needs to. That's what you have to do. It's like the whole Batman complex. Batman won't kill anybody no matter what. He won't kill the Joker. How many countless people have died because the Joker gets out and does bad things? It's the exact same thing here with Morgan. By not killing people, more people are dying. You kill the bad people so that everyone else can keep going. You save the bad people because that life is precious, as they keep saying, every life is precious. So you save the bad people, and then all of these good people are dying because of it. That doesn't work out. It's not balanced. It doesn't end up with a net positive. It's a net negative by a whole lot. So it doesn't work. And we keep seeing that over and over again, example after example, in this series and in everything else, every other show ever that involved good guys and bad guys. It doesn't work, and they're harping on it in this series. And this whole episode I found very annoying because that's what it was all about. And then even at the very end, when it comes back to Morgan talking to the wolf says, that's fine, I'm gonna kill everybody anyways if I don't die. Everybody. Kids, everybody. And Morgan still doesn't kill him. He leaves him. It doesn't tell anybody else, at least at this point, doesn't tell anybody else that there's still a guy here that wants to kill everybody. So that's potentially problematic. He does lock the gate at the end when he leaves the house, so maybe he's gonna let the guy die, hopefully, inside. I don't know. It's not a smart move either way. But as far as we know, since Morgan didn't physically kill the guy, knowing that the guy's going to kill everyone he can if he gets the opportunity is more irritating. Kill him. He's a bad guy. He's going to kill the good guys if you don't kill him. I don't understand how anybody doesn't make that connection. It's just getting really annoying. And I'm starting to feel like maybe the writers or the directors or somebody is not really on page with what the audience wants. We keep getting these seasons where half the season is good and then half the season is bad. And I think that's because they are maybe putting the show on a pedestal and trying to make it more artsy or more artistic or more whatever you want to call it. And this episode is a good example of that. We spent an hour and a half of mostly boring, which, I mean, sure was interesting. The conversations they had, and Drew Carey's brother, I think that's who the actor was. He was okay as a character, but that episode didn't need to exist at all. We could have progressed the story that we actually care about. Sure, Morgan's a good character, and Lenny James is a good actor. I like him a lot. But we didn't need this episode in any way as far as I'm concerned. It was a throwaway episode, and we should have had an episode that dealt with the characters that are actually progressing the story. They left us wondering what happened to Glenn. They left us wondering what's going to happen to Rick. Nothing. Not a mention of any of that at all, except maybe at the end, I think you could hear Rick yelling. Maybe it was Rick, I don't know. But it was vague, even if it was, so they didn't do a good job of conveying that, I guess, if that's the case. And then the preview for next week only really shows Maggie. Maybe that's hinting about Glenn somehow, but Maggie and the blonde lady, Rick's new love interest. And I guess Coral is going to get into a knife fight with that doofus kid. But that's just the previews for next week. This episode literally had this much story progression. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really getting tired of not having story progression. This is a series that's supposedly about the story. It's not about the grotesque violence or the action. It's about the story. Those other things are there to move it along and to make it interesting, but we're not getting any story. We're not getting any substance. It's a bunch of disguised nothingness as substance, and it's starting to bug me a little bit. I like the action stuff a lot, and that's fine. And I don't mind story episodes, but not story episodes that don't do anything. This was not really a story episode. It was a filler episode, and an extended one at that. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious if you guys agree with me about the whole don't kill the bad guys thing. Drives me nuts. Let me know what you think about that, and let me know what you think about this season so far. The whole idea of not moving forward, especially after this episode, since this episode, as far as I'm concerned, was throwaway. Let me know what you guys think about that. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week so we can talk more about The Walking Dead. And I look forward to reading your comments. I'll see you in the next video.